Thank you so much for staying here on Joy News today. Now, the Minister of Railway Development, Joe Ghartey, has announced the government will be seeking to provide tax incentives to enable factories set up at places close to railway lines to ensure efficiency and effective operation of the sector. Dr. Ghartey said this while inspecting some key ongoing projects, including the Tema Akosombo line.
We are about to start the Tema Akosombo project. That's the rail line. Part of the reason why there's a Tema Akosombo rail line is that when it ends at Akosombo, it will go onto the water and then go up to Bupe. Then the trains can take it from Bupe to Paga. That's one way of going to Paga. Another way, of course, is through Techiman. And we will be looking.
Well, we apologize for that. We'll go back to that story and pick up live updates from my colleague Joseph Akable. Now, away from that, a hearing expert with the Komfo Teaching Hospital is warning loudspeakers used in churches could have negative effect on the hearing of congregants. Audiologist Barbara Brago warns many Christians are at risk of long-term hearing defects as a result of loud audio produced in various churches. As the world marks World Hearing Day today, audiologists wants proper attention paid to excessive noise exposed to the ear. Oheminteria reports.
The World Health Organization estimates 360 million people live with hearing disabilities, with 1 billion young people aged between 12 and 35 at risk of hearing loss due to recreational exposure to loud sounds. The Komfo Teaching Hospital recorded 1,087 adult hearing-related cases in 2015. 897 children were presented within the same period. The number, however, increased to 1,186 for adults and 947 for children in 2016. The most common type of hearing loss presented according to experts is sensorineural. It is hearing loss arising as a result of problems caused to the inner ear. Experts blame exposure to loud noise, aging, head trauma, among others.
So it's difficult for them to get employment. And those who are traders too, they find it difficult to get customers. In case a child too is a student, his academic performance too also goes down. And most of them too becomes isolated. Well, they think when I speak, people don't hear. When people do speak, I don't hear. So why should I continue to be in the company of people?
Audiologist Barbara Brago and she says Christians must be concerned about noise pollution in the church.
When you visit our modern churches nowadays, the equipment that they use, the speakers that they use, you meet about 3 to 4 congregations, and they have set up the volume so high, which is not very healthy for the ear. So we are appealing to the churches. They should minimize the volume of the sound that they produce. Because you may think you are safe at your home, but by the time that you come from your church, you might have temporary hearing loss. And as you move in and out, one day it will become permanent. And where will you be going? So we are appealing to all the churches that they should minimize the noise.
Pastor Obed Joy Obin is the founder and leader of the Miracle Manna Church at Ija. He is aware of the dangers associated with excessive noise in the church.
Most of the sound we hear in churches nowadays are not sound. They are rather noise making. Noise making is when you go beyond the boundaries, you go beyond the people who are supposed to listen. And to the extent that those who are afar are still affected by the kind of sound you're producing. So, of course, as a church, we are more careful with that. And we have people coming to church, and at the end of the day, they come back and tell me that, Pastor, your sound was too loud, and you need to do something about it. I want to take this opportunity to say that sound making is not necessarily noise making is not necessarily the move of the spirit. You can make the right sound at the right environment. Are still affected by the kind of sound you're producing. So for us as a church, we are more careful with that. And we have people coming to church, and at the end of the day, they come back and tell me that, Pastor, your sound was too loud, and you need to do something about it. I want to take this opportunity to say that sound making is not necessarily, noise making is not necessarily the move of the spirit. You can make the right sound at the right environment.
Though 60% of childhood hearing loss is preventable, late diagnosis, lack of equipment and personnel hamper early diagnosis. Mr. and Mrs. Dabanka detected their 4-year-old daughter, Angela, has a hearing impairment 3 years after birth. Various hospitals could not detect the condition at early stage. Thanks to the hearing center at Komfanoche Teaching Hospital, Angela is receiving some quality attention. But that came with a huge cost to the family's income. Mrs. Cynthia Dabanka has been assured Angela can hear and talk sooner or later.
My daughter is 4 years old. She should be talking by now, but she has speech difficulties. Though she sometimes responds to instructions, she can't talk. All that she can say is mama and dada. Treating this condition is expensive. At least we have spent 1,500 Ghana cedis. Though she has insurance, we still pay.
There is, however, hope for people like Angela and many others because hearing aids and speech therapies, among others, are available.
Well, it's International World Hearing Day. You may just want to advise, if you're not a Christian, your Christian friends or your pastor of this potential danger of loud sound in churches. Away from this, 8 people yesterday sustained machete wounds when supporters of the NPP and NDC clashed in a reprisal takeover of the Abuabo Lorry Station terminal in Kumasi. Now, the NPP supporters attacked and drove away operators of the terminal early this year, citing a similar takeover 8 years ago. Several machete-wielding NDC youth yesterday stormed the station to fight for space. Meanwhile, the police say the standoff has Abudu and Andani undertones linked to the conflicts in the north. Now let's go live to Erastus Asari Donko, my colleague with Love FM, with the latest on that story. Erastus, good afternoon. What's the latest you can report on this incident?
Well, the latest is that the police are still keeping 3 people. One is a trader, one is a head porter, and a businessman. They've also released the leadership of the 2 factions, NDC and NPP, at the Abuabo station. They've released them on bail. The police says they are coming out with a release on the next line of action. Meanwhile, from where I'm standing right now is the Abuabo station, close to Alaba. The place has been cordoned off with a police investigation tape, and so nobody is allowed to park any vehicle within that particular enclave. Meanwhile, residents are calling on the Asemhene, who is a traditional authority here in whose jurisdiction this whole land falls, to claim ownership of the land, use it for another purpose, because traders say they are afraid that this violence might erupt again, because it's not only the terminal itself, lives are at stake here, and they believe that the people might come back and it affects business greatly.
All right, Erastus, briefly, if you could just tell us the 3 people who are still being kept in police custody. Has the police given any reason why they've let go the leadership of the 2 factions, but are still keeping these 3 people?
Well, I was told that will come in the release. They are not giving me specific reasons why these people were arrested, but they are saying that in the heat of what happened, they arrested them at the scene. And so they are currently in custody, serving as accomplices to the event itself. But then they will not tell me the charges or why exactly they arrested them.
All right, Erastus, away from this, we know there was another violent attack in Kwadraso, a suburb of Kumasi, yesterday, where a man believed to be 32 was attacked by people also with machetes. Do we have any updates on that particular incident, and do we know how this man is faring?
Well, as of yesterday, we had information that the man had an almost severed wrist. It was just hanging. And so the mother of the victim who witnessed the incident was waiting to get his son to the hospital before they file a formal complaint with the police.
Okay.
I understand they have done that now. So we'll be contacting the police to find out the next line of action. All
right. Thank you very much, Erastus Asare Donko, my colleague in Kumasi, for those updates. Now, away from the Ashanti region, Executive Secretary of the National Identification Authority, Professor Kenneth Atefua, has described as depressing and outmoded the structure and equipment at the head office of the authority he now heads. Mr. Atefua also described as overbloated the current workforce at the authority. The former Deputy Commissioner of SHRAJ said this at the commissioning of the largest certified full-service card manufacturing facility in the Sub-Saharan Africa Margins Group here in Accra. Now, he ever expressed confidence in the authority's ability to produce national IDs for Ghanaians, a key campaign promise by the governing MPP in the run-up to the 2016 general election.
There is data that has been collected from 2008. Some of that data has been used. There are about 900,000 Ghanaians who have been issued with ID cards, which are working. There are foreigners who are, as we speak, receiving ID cards instantly when they go to the NIA offices or go to immigration service, various points of the Ghana Immigration Service across the country, and are issued with national identity cards, Ghana cards, as foreigners, the non-citizen card, within 15 minutes of registering. So the possibilities are already there. There's a database that can be used in different ways to ensure that this is delivered. There is a question of equipment. The equipment that was procured, the technology that was procured in 2006, which was used around 2008, it's almost obsolete. The biometrics at the time, 4 fingers were taken. Today, it is a universal standard that you need all 10 fingers, and you also need the iris. And the technology that was procured at the time was not designed for that. There are ways of retooling the arrangements to ensure that if you were previously registered, like me, but you never received your card. I was chief executive. I registered. I never got a card. Today, it is possible for me to go there and upon administering a finger, all the data I gave them in 2008 or 2009 will pop up. Then they could take all my 10 fingers afresh. They will replace the 4 that was there. They could take my iris. And within 3 minutes, I'll be issued with a card. That is a possibility because it is already happening with the foreigners.
You're watching Joy News Today with me, Benis Abubedu. Up next is business, and Emmanuel Abuache-Riafe will be telling you more about the new 5 Ghana cedi note the Bank of Ghana has unveiled.